Now, let me read this statement. And it's just so ridiculous, Sean, because at the point that you said this, you were the best closer in Major League Baseball. You said, when asked if I'd play for the New York Yankees, and I don't even think this statement is controversial, I'd retire first. It's the most hectic, nerve-wracking city. Imagine having to take the 7 train to the ballpark, looking like you're riding through Beirut, next to some kid with purple hair, next to some queer with AIDS, right next to some dude who just got out of jail for the 4th time, right next to some 20-year-old mom with 4 kids. It's depressing. The biggest thing I don't like about New York are the foreigners. You can walk around an entire block in Times Square and not hear anybody speak English. Asian, Koreans, Vietnamese, Indians, Russians, Spanish people, and everything up there. How the hell did they get in this country? I feel like that's not even a controversial statement today. And but
The comment about the gay people, that's a little much right there.
yeah, you probably don't even hate it.
And with everything else, because what wasn't printed was about the assimilation factor or the lack of assimilation factor. Yeah. Can't speak English. Yeah, it's not that you can't. It's you don't make the effort to fucking learn. And if you vote with your feet to move to this country, and I we've been broken up almost 2 years now, but I was engaged to a girl, Korean girl, whose parents were like off the boat Korean, and the mother still can't speak English, and she's 60 some odd years old, been living in America for almost 40 years, and still can. I mean, she probably knows about 2% of an English language, and we dated for about 3.5 years. And it's never about your skin color, where you're from, just fucking assimilate. And if you're going to come here, obviously, on a short-term visa for 6 months and beat it down and whatever. But if you plan on raising a family here, don't just seclude yourself in some private little neighborhood in New York or San Francisco or wherever, surrounded by just your type people, and just try to recreate your home country over here in America. Blend, mesh, be American. Don't be a Korean living in a Korean community or an Ethiopian community, and you never venture out anywhere else. Now, that's not being American. That's basically recreating the country that you didn't like enough to stay in to come here and recreating over here. I don't agree with that. Assimilate. I've lived in Venezuela for about 4 or 5 months. I lived in Puerto Rico for over a year of my life, both times playing winter ball. And only being over in those places for 3+ months, 4 months, just playing winter ball. I mean, I assimilated. I would. It's usually around Christmas time. I would go to all the local little Christmas parades they have in Puerto Rico. It's the Three Kings Day parade. Is their big thing. I mean, I took it in, man. I went with all my teammates, and my Spanish was fairly good back then. And when it came time to order food or whatever, I fucking did it in Spanish. And I knew come January 15th, my fat ass going back to the States. But in the 3 months I was there, I mean, I'm assimilating to Puerto Rican culture. And I just find it offensive and yeah, I guess not really offensive. The words not coming to mind right now. Um, when people come over here and America's the greatest country on the planet, well, then why don't you fucking be a part of it? And celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate Easter and Memorial Day and Veterans Day and some things like that. I mean, you see so many people aren't from this country, they're working on Veterans Day. Yeah. I take offense to that. Get your fat ass home and observe the holiday, man.
No,
in some places you go. I was in Miami like 4 or 5 years ago at a Starbucks in Miami, ordered my coffee in English, and the person serving rolled their eyes like, and went and got somebody else to take my order. Like they were somehow put out. I'm in Miami ordering my coffee in English, and they couldn't understand my coffee order in English.
No, John, you're right. Here. Miami's insane, and this is really what you're speaking out against. Is I don't think you're against immigration. I think you're okay with that. It's the globalism. It's that they're ruining American values. They're trying to trying to erase American history by just saying it's a melting pot. And listen, you want to come here legally and live in America, the land of milk and honey? Sure, that's cool with me. But these illegal immigrants, and at that time, illegal immigration was still an issue. So, I think everything you said, it was pretty based, if I'm just being honest. But, people don't want to hear the truth. And I don't think you're xenophobic, but they called you xenophobic. But that's just what they're going to do. So what was the word?
If you come here and want to better yourself and bring yourself up to the standard Americans have set for the way of life in America, then great. Most of them come here and they don't improve upon themselves at all. And so gradually what happens, more and more come here from third world countries, second world countries. Gradually, they're not raising themselves up to our level. They're bringing us down to their level. And so gradually standard of living in this country will start to decline as more and more second and third world people come in this country, overtake the schools, excuse me, overtake, like you're seeing right now, the apartment complexes and the hotels and the workforces and things like that. They will not rise to our level of living. They will bring us down to their level of living.
Yeah, John, I got canceled. I opened up for Tucker Carlson. I made a joke about how Haitians are eating cats and dogs and how they said it was fake, but I called the Chinese buffet in Springfield, Ohio, and they said their business is doing so good because everybody's eating the cats. My point is, that's where we're at. You were speaking about something in 1999, and now we got Haitian immigrants eating damn cats in their driveway. So, I'm not anti-immigration. I don't think you're anti-immigration at all. But if you come to America, you got to follow our rules. You got all these Haitian Uber Eats drivers wrecking into people, don't have proper insurance, sign up and name. And I mean, it's just making our country more dangerous when it's already dangerous enough. So I'm empathetic to your views. I'm empathetic to what you said. It just sucks that was such a
and now you're finally getting, I'm sure you haven't read it, but I wrote a book about 12, 13 years ago called Rocker, Scars, and Strikes. And the last 3 or 4 chapters were about the SI article, and let's clear the air about what was actually said. And a lot of it was talking about the immigration situation and things like that. And I was going into financial realities of, okay, so I was doing research. The book came out in 11, so I'm doing research in like 9 and 10. And at that time, there had been like 38 hospitals in the state of California that had closed their doors because of unpaid healthcare services by illegals. 38. I mean, who knows what the hell that is now? And so now, I mean, all the shit I was talking about back in 2000, which sort of led the SI article off, is talking politics with a fucking liberal. And what was put in that article was probably 45 seconds of a 15-minute conversation where I'm talking like I'm talking to you now about assimilation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then writing the book, doing the research and everything like that, talking fiscally, talking about what happens to the school systems and the hospitals, everything else, the welfare systems and all that. And it was, kind of had my balls busted a little bit about the book, and those comments and those stats and things like that. But now you're seeing what I was talking about in 9 and 10 on fucking steroids. And now a lot of fucking blues are coming over and like, yeah, all right, enough. I mean, Mayor Adams up there in New York. I mean, liberals he can be, but he's like, yeah, we got to. I know we want to be, sympathetic, empathetic to apply to these illegals, but shit, enough's enough, man. And yeah, I mean, what I was talking about, not to say I'm some, prognosticator, but 10, 15 years ago, and seeing these kind of things, and like, if it doesn't stop, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And who knows, no one ever saw what was coming the last 4 years with these fucking dopes in the White House let 12 to 15 million people just run through our fucking borders like fucking shit through a goose. I mean, how do you ever think that's a good idea? I mean, I get it. We want to be empathetic to people that through no choice of their own were born into a pretty shitty lot in life. But I mean, goddamn, like they say in Caddyshack, the fucking world needs ditch diggers too. So at some point in time, you got to stop feeding stray dogs, man. You'll end up with a damn fucking yard full of them.
And they don't talk about the sex trafficking, the drug trafficking that's all connected to it. It's just a whole terrible thing. Okay. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games.